What's up, YouTube? A lot has happened since my last video. And before we get into anything else, I will say I did get a day in my life video done. I have yet to edit it because I've had a lot of other shit going on. It will be up eventually, if after this video anybody still watches my videos. And the reason I say that is because this video is probably going to piss some people off. I don't really give a shit. Alright. So we all know, unless you've really been living under a fucking rock, about the murder of George Floyd and the protests and the rioting that have come after that. Alright. I'm going to start off by saying this. His death was a murder. I'm not going to argue that. Not even going to try. I've seen the videos from all the angles available, and he was murdered. And nobody I know and talk to and associate with disagree with that. Okay? He was murdered. He was murdered by a shitty cop that had so many grievances and just... He should not have been a cop. With everything that he had against him, he should have been let go a long time ago. Not gonna argue that. Not gonna argue that the other cops that were on the scene should also be tried for murder. Alright. I believe 2 of them had only been on the job for a couple of weeks or whatever. However, not making an excuse for them, okay. They were there. They had the responsibility to intervene. Whether they were new or seasoned or what the fuck ever. Okay. Your first duty as a police officer, firefighter, EMT, whatever, is to protect the public. Okay? Your duty is to also protect the person that you have arrested. Okay? This man was in custody. He wasn't combative. There was no reason for the officer to have his knee on his neck. Okay? We'll get that out of the way. Okay? Now, on to the second of however many parts this is going to be. There was protesting. Okay? I get that. There were a lot of angry people. Again, I get that. Okay? It upset me. Now, I'm white. Fucking obviously. Okay. That doesn't mean that I don't feel or have empathy for other races. Because I do. Okay? I spent 10 years as a firefighter and a paramedic. I took the same oath that these officers took to protect and to serve my community. And even though I'm not a firefighter anymore, I'm not a paramedic anymore, I still take that very fucking seriously. And I will always take it seriously. Because it's just who I am. That's a big part of my life. It's just who I am. Okay? So I get the protesting. I get the anger. I do. Okay? I won't sit here and pretend that I've been through or experienced the racial profiling and the just myriad of other issues that the African American community has experienced, because I haven't. Okay? The only thing that I can say I have in common is I grew up piss-ass poor. Okay, I grew up, my mom was working 2 jobs, and we barely had any money left over after rent, bills, whatever little food that we could afford. Okay, I grew up fucking poor. I grew up, living in some shady houses or apartments in, some shady ass neighborhoods. However, I've never been afraid when I've been pulled over by the police. I've never been afraid, well, I can't necessarily say this, but for the most part, I've never been afraid walking down the street of getting harassed by a cop or anybody else. Okay, I've never had a store clerk follow me around in a store or a gas station because they thought I was going to steal something. So I've never experienced that. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I know exactly what you're going through or whatever, because I fucking don't. But what I don't understand is why you're burning down your own neighborhoods. You're burning down your own homes. You're burning down your own businesses. I don't understand that. To me, it does more of a disservice to your community than it's helping anything. Okay, because a lot of insurance companies that insure businesses, from my understanding, and I could be wrong, and if I am, please correct me. I've dealt with business insurance a little bit. I don't pretend to understand insurance because it's all fucking shit, but a majority of the business insurance companies out there don't protect against rioting or civil, damage due to civil unrest. It's the politically correct way to put it, I guess. I don't give a shit. Okay, so you've gone out, you've destroyed these businesses that, this person has worked their entire lives building, put all of their money into, because running a business is fucking expensive. Alright? I have my own business. It's ridiculous. I don't know why I do it. Okay, so you've taken the money away from them, from their families. You've destroyed their business that their insurance is not going to cover. Okay, so now that person has no money to rebuild their business, so they're just going to close up shop. Okay, now your community lost a family-owned business for, I'm not going to say no good reason, but I can almost understand, and I don't agree with it, I don't condone it, but I can understand going after Walmart, going after Target, going after, the big nationwide, nationally recognized companies. I don't agree with it. I still think that's wrong. I think that the destruction of anybody else's property is wrong. Okay? But I don't understand going after, family-owned businesses in your community. Because now those businesses aren't going to be there anymore. Okay? So that money that was going back into your community after taxes, that money that's going back into your community is now no longer there. Okay? And it's generally the family-owned businesses, the mom and pop shops that sponsor, your softball teams, your football teams, your, whatever. They're the ones chipping in to build parks and recreation areas and, all the positive things that your community has or had. Okay, so really, you're taking more than just a business from a family. You're taking more than just, money from a family. You're taking it away from your community. You're taking it away from your parks. You're taking it away from your schools. You're taking it away from, everything. Okay. But more than that, it's... You're going after cops. And you're going after firefighters and paramedics and public safety officials. Okay. And again, I can empathize with the frustration. But 99.9% of us are good. 99.9% of us got into being a police officer or a firefighter or a paramedic or, whatever. Because we like helping our community. We like helping our neighbor. And that's all we want to do. But unfortunately, you got the 0.1% who are total fucking dickheads and make the rest of us look bad. And I equate it, and this might sound wrong, but it's the same as me thinking that I don't even want to say it because it's just in my head it even sounds wrong, and I don't want to, but it's wrong. Okay, we just want to help people. That's all we want. We want to be there in your time of need to help you. In a car accident, if somebody's trying to break into your house, if you're having a bad fucking day, we want to be there for you. Yes, there needs to be a drastic nationwide overhaul of the whole fucking legal system. Not gonna argue with that at all. Okay? Historically, black communities and minority communities have gotten the shit end of the stick when it comes to the criminal justice system. The statistics are there for you to look at. Okay. Again, not gonna argue that because it's fucking true. So we need a complete overhaul of that. We need to get rid of the bad cops. Okay? The officer that killed George Floyd had so many grievances and lawsuits and excessive force violations and all this other shit against him, but he couldn't be fired. And I'm not anti-union, and unions serve a purpose. They do. They always have. But they need to not protect the bad cops, the bad firefighters, the bad, whatever fucking union it is for whatever business or trade or whatever. If you got somebody who's just so completely shitty that he's got 37 fucking violations against him for, just this whole laundry list of shit, don't protect him. Because he clearly doesn't give a shit. And if he doesn't give a shit, why should the union give a shit? Why should the police department give a shit? So there needs to be an overhaul. But there needs to be an overhaul of more than just that. Because it's not just the police departments that have been... that have contributed to this whole situation. Okay. It's the funding for inner city schools. For predominantly minority schools. For, healthcare in those neighborhoods. School. We have a system in place right now that it's all based on test scores. And the schools that have the better test scores get more funding. Whereas the schools with lower test scores get less funding. And get funding taken away from them. And that's fucking asinine to me. Okay? You have these schools that are doing great, so they get more funding. Okay. But you got these schools that are doing poorly because they're already underfunded. So you're going to take more money away from them. So now you're just contributing to that cycle. They're the ones that need the money. They're the ones that need the resources and the materials and the good fucking teachers to teach these children. Because education is everything. I stand by that. Now I'm not talking going to college and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But a good basic education is the difference between life and death. It's the difference between either seeking higher education or at least wanting to get into, finding something you want to do. Versus going to a school where your teachers don't give a shit because they don't get paid. They don't get paid enough, and some of them don't get paid because of contract negotiations that are stalled for 3 or 4 years at a time. So eventually the teachers just don't give a shit. I can't blame them. You got a teacher that doesn't give a shit about a student. It shows. That student's going to think, well, my teacher doesn't give a shit about me. They probably already have a rough home life as it is, okay? Just statistically speaking, it's probably not the greatest. Okay, so you got a young kid, 18 and younger, who has seen nothing but people who don't give a shit about them. So now, you have this gang that comes along. Okay, you have this group of people that come along and show interest in this person. Show them the attention and, the bonding and all of that they've never had. What the fuck do you think is going to happen? Okay, that kid is going to gravitate towards that group of people, and they're going to start doing what that group of people does. Because they found acceptance, and they want to keep that acceptance. Okay, and then it starts off small. Maybe shoplifting from a gas station or whatever. But it escalates. Now, turn that around. Okay, let's say you don't have a stable home environment, but you have a stable environment at school. Okay? You have teachers that give a shit about you, that care whether you succeed or not, that are paid fairly for the work they do, because teachers are fucking amazing. I've had some amazing teachers. I've had some shit teachers, but I've had some amazing teachers. And those amazing teachers are the reason I'm where I'm at today. Okay, so now you got these amazing teachers. You got this kid who comes from a home that's not the greatest. Okay. But this kid comes to school every day, has teachers that give a shit about him, show him attention, affection, interest in what he's doing with his life. The kid's going to gravitate towards that. Instead of not having that and gravitating towards the gang. Education. Just a basic fucking education. You know, basic life skills. So, again, we need a major overhaul of a lot of things in this country. This is not the country that I fought for. This is not the country that my friends fought for, that my friends died for. We need to do better. And we need to do better now. I don't think that defunding police departments is the answer, because I think that we still need police departments. We need police officers. But we do need to change the way we do things. We need to stop criminalizing people before they're even criminals. We need better education. We need better funding for education. We need better funding for hospitals, especially in those communities. They deserve access to the same health care that I get. They deserve access to the same education that I got. Because at the end of the day, we're not black, we're not white, we're not Asian, we're not any fucking race. We're humans. We are one species on this planet. And until we can figure that out, this is going to continue. And it's not going to get any better. Until we figure out that we're not a race. We're not defined by our skin color, our eye color, our hair color, our jobs. Until we figure out that the only thing we need to be defined by is the fact that we're humans and what we have in our fucking hearts, this country's going to continue to go to shit. And that's not what I fought for. That's not what my friends died for. We need to figure this the fuck out, and we need to figure it out now.